Greetings, algebra. Back with another quadratic equation. Now, if I got this problem on a test and it said solve, I'm probably not going to use the quadratic formula. I would factor. Now, not everything can be factored, so that's why we need the quadratic formula. So when it can't be factored, we can use the quadratic formula and still find the solutions. In this problem, I would make my two parentheses, and I would go x, and I would need a -2 and a -2 so that when I distribute, I get x times x squared, -2x and -2x give me my -4x, -2 times -2 give me my +4. Then I'd go x minus 2 equals 0. I would only write it once, and I'd get my answer x equals 2, factoring style. Factor. Or we can now use the quadratic formula if we don't like the factor. It does take a little longer. There's a lot of substituting. X equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times 1. See all that? This is what happens. 4 plus or minus the square root 16 minus 16 all over 2. What's 16 minus 16? 0. So we're going to get x equals 4 plus or minus the square root of 0 over 2. What's the square root of 0? 0. It's not even there. We don't even need that plus or minus anymore. It's just 4 divided by 2, which equals 2, which is the answer we just saw. Relating back to the previous video, video 3, we talked about the discriminant. When the number inside the square root sign is 0, 16 minus 16 is 0, there's one solution. There it is, one solution. When that's positive, there's two solutions. If this number underneath the square root sign is negative, there's no solution. If we were to graph this parabola, it's going to come down, bam, hit the x-axis right there at 2, and then go back up. Our vertex is on the x-axis. Okay? All right. So there's another problem. Solving quadratic formula. It could have been solved by factoring. Probably would have solved that by factoring. All right. Now, same thing with here. We could probably solve this equation by factoring also. What was my problem here? I have it written down somewhere. Look at all my notes. Look at my notes, see? Notes. Copy them down. If you just copy that down, now you have the answers to all the problems I've given. Just joking. Oh, what problem I want to do here? Here we go. 2x squared minus 8 equals 0. Again, I would solve this using the square root method. Undo operations. Add 8 to the other side. Divide both sides by 2. Then take the square root of both sides. What we did last unit. X equals positive and -2. Two answers. You could solve this using the quadratic formulas. Quadratic formula. All right. What's A? 2. What's B? B is not -8. C is -8. B is the coefficient on x. Where's x? Oh, I don't see it. So it would be 0. Now you can plug that all into x equals opposite of b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac. All over 2a. Did I say that part? Oh my God. The quadratic formula. Too long. All right, but you can plug all that stuff in there and do the quadratic formula. Not making you do it with this one. Instead, I'm going to have you practice one more. Last video. Try the quadratic formula one more time. So a total of 3 problems you guys had to do on your own after copying your notes. 3 problems all week. 3 problems. You can handle it. Here's the problem that you're solving. -2x squared minus 4x equals -1. I want you to solve that by using the quadratic formula. First step, make sure it's equal to 0. Second step, find A, B, and C. Then substitute those into the quadratic formula and give me your solutions.